Okay, so let's definitely know the frame concern right now. First of all, like Leon basically like on the previous day of that like ultimate final championship that again has like is recording on the previous day recording has stayed at the stadium to Windon Stadium I think like and they are like right now with like Sonia as well as like of Magnolia being present there. Like that leave up the impression is right now the potential reason for like Sonia as well as Magnolia being present there to me it has like the reason for them even bothering to like show their to me as like I'm movie particularly because of like the right now as probably have as in like current position current situation in his like life that is able that has finally have made it to like the finals of like the championship battle to that face off against Leon since Ash right now in like the that this in such an extremely important position. But even that would be the sort of for like Sony as well as Magnolia right now might have felt as right now as like towards Ash that like might be right now seeing as this important person this like was basically made all this way to like the finals to face off against everyone. So like this would be the reason for like I'm the might be like the reason for like I'm the like Sony as well as like Magnolia as well like even bothering to like show up to get the window stadium. I think that made with Ashes because like I'm the like the case of Sony as well as like Magnolia, like I'm the like since they know they would be like knowing that beyond way more than Ash and like even though in like as like Ash fought his way into like making it towards like the final against like Leon like the championship tournament that even though through Ash's like that journey towards like the final Ash had basically displayed that like, his Pokemon alone have special powers that like no other trainer have like this like special Zemo power of Ash's Pikachu that Ash's Pikachu alone have of that special Zemo that can chase after like the opponent Pokemon and like the kind of Zemo special Zemo that Ash's Pikachu alone have that's like really the opponent Pokemon can't even dodge that special remove of as because that change after like the opponent Pokemon and stop to like land the from like the opponent Pokemon. So that Ash having displayed that this Pokemon is like extra special. His Pokemon alone is like extra special. And also with like Ash having also displayed that basically Ash's Lucario alone can use like G max level aura sphere attack while Lucario is not even in its like even though Lucario can only dynamic like still like in the Ash's Lucario alone like without even dynamixing while in its like normal size form itself. Like National Lucario alone came to extra special that like it can use like gigantic level huge like huge like aura of attack while like Ash's Lucario alone is like extra special to be able to do that while even while in its like normal size form. Like they listen to like Magnolia and Sonia by now might have witnessed all this like that and might have figured that it will be as a Pokemon alone is like extra special. Still I'm not understanding that Leon is like this undefeated champion and since like Magnolia and Sonia by now might have seen like more than enough championship battles of Leon to the point of like for the feeling having that overconfidence totally. This is like my thing that they might not only have that absolute overconfidence, Leon himself would be also having that absolute while at the same time recognizing like as Pokemon alone being like extra special and having extra special powers like even then like I'm looking Leon as well as like Sonia as well as Magnolia right now would be like totally overconfident right now thinking that is definitely in like the match between like final championship match between like Leon and Ash that would be that's like taking place the very next day, like definitely the undefeated Leon will be once again would be remaining undefeated by defeating at would be like the outcome that they would all be like expecting, definitely not the impression. But like my personal impression is definitely for like uh the undefeated Leon to definitely like face this like first defeat against like as in like the championship finals battle on that will take place in the next day. Like there is a scenario that I was down with. So like definitely from the point of view of like Magnolia as well as Sonia, right now they will be only seeing Ash as like suddenly seeing Ash was like extremely important person. So like I'm like both Sonia as well as Magnolia would be only think that basically like after matches like that is the very next day against like Leon Ash might be only definitely beaten against like Leon and after that like basically Ash they won't be able to like see this like important person Ash anymore. So like after the like before Ash and like they will be thinking that basically after like Ash will be like most likely losing to like Leon like Ash might not stay in that gala for much longer, and as might be not even in like the positive as through such a defeat against Leon, like as not even having like the mood to ever to not visit like Sonia and Magnolia might have been also like a possibility that Magnolia and Sonia might have only foreseen is definitely management or like felt definitely so like I'm looking like Magnolia as well as Sonia right now going up to Windown Stadium. I think like really to see Ash this is only due to like them wanting to like see Ash for like the last time. Then feeling I think like this would be like their last time to like see Ash in person before like Ash like the next day would be like losing. My thing of like they would be like losing to like Leon and she leaving Gala be around the lines like and also from like maybe that Sonia as well as like Magnolia might be right now thinking, which definitely not the example. So like my personal impressions were like this would be the best reason for like not only Sonia but also like the whole Sonia or like Magnolia as well like basically he didn't bothering to like travel all this way to like bring down stadium just to like make and that's definitely my personal impression. But in the case of like Leon, like in the case of Leon, like I'm looking like for Leon, like I'm looking like Leon as well would it only even right now would be of that overconfident mindset, which would have only formed over the years since like Leon might has over the years like maintained just like consistency on maintaining that status, like that undefeated status. Definitely remember this. So definitely I'm looking there will be that bit of like overconfidence lying within Leon. And I'm looking that tiny bit of like an overconfidence that would definitely be presented in Leon, no matter like how much Leon tries, like Leon won't be able to like, get rid of that like factor of like or confidence, which might be definitely presented. Leon is definitely my preparation, which would be like I'm considering like most likely the one factor in like the fight between Ash and Leon that will be taking place on the next day, like Leon having like a setback in that battle against Ash. Like I'm considering the or confidence which might definitely exist for like Leon. Particularly to be one point where like Leon in that battle against Ash will be taking a major setback, and like the uh, other factor that I'm also thinking where like Ash would be that would these two factors is what I'm going to bring would be allowing that eventually allowing as to that or for an quickly on and like the second factor would be like another different like would be that extra special like fact that as if Pokemon alone have like this having this extra special power so like I'm able to like since like so like I'm just sitting to my presentation that like in like Ash battle against battle taking place tomorrow like uh, Ash would be the like Ash final Pokemon final in that battle like that is sort of fixed battle like I'm the final showdown battle would be like Leon's like Gigantamax Charizard goes of like Ash's like Dynamax Pikachu that name my language and in that battle I'm like Ash Pikachu once again like using some sort of like Ash Pikachu like using in that most that Azure Pikachu I'm considering for it to not be a strategy that through which like Azure will be offering like the Dragon Max start of Leon, but like I'm considering once again that extra special factor I'm considering coming into play once again connecting to like as is like Pikachu where like I'm considering like Azure Pikachu that Azure Pikachu's attack once again getting some sort of like an extra special power that basically no other Pikachu would be out there in like the world will be having. It's like in a good scenario that I'm and to be through that extra special power that has people who alone would be having that would be like the final that would be the final factor through which like I'm looking like usually as would be like keeping Leon and it's like a giant like that is like dealing with scenario that I was looking and my better so like the name of the Bremrachin as for like why exactly Leon would have decided to like call as to like Windows Stadium would be precisely for like Leon to like especially since I'm still thinking about the premise that like Leon a bit only all confidence stayed down for him definitely ending up being like the winner in like the next day in the battle between like Ash and Leon that is taken place the next day. Yet like I'm between Leon would have also recognized Ash's Pokemon alone having just like special powers that no other Pokemon have. So like I'm between like Leon might have seen at might be right now seen as like a totally worthy opponent that to fight up against Leon and totally to be able to like set up an extremely entertaining battle for like the crowd that will be witnessing like the final of the championship battle between Ash and Leon like the very next day. Like Leon will be right now probably being Ash at that only single worthy opponent with his like Pokemon having special powers like Ash alone being that only worthy opponents that can top like the so far like the certain like all the matches that Leon would have fought off, all the battles that Leon would have fought off in like the final, in like the finals and like the championship battle, like they might have not been satisfying enough of like and then when it comes to like the entertainment level for like the crowd, like about the from Leon's point of view, like this might have not been like satisfying enough for Leon, especially my opinion, which is like all those matches might have been like not just challenging enough for Leon, was definitely not a trend. When Leon in like the past might have defeated all of his like opponents in like the past 3 years, like multiple championship final battles, like really like that expectation that Leon might have had for like the finals to be challenging enough, that desire that Leon might have had, like the his like opponent each and every single year might have not been able to like reach up to those high expectations of Leon, especially when the but like right now the case of like Ash like Leon, we were only seeing such a possibility of like Ash alone like being able to like reach that level of expectations of Leon. So that like basically that way like Ash alone being able to like top like all the previous battles that final uh, battles in like the finals of exams battles that Leon had in like the past years, like really Ash alone being able to like top the performance of like the opponent that Leon have faced in like the past years finals of like championship battle, and that way Ash alone being like having like possibly having like the potential solely due to like Ash sports on alone being expressed, which is like Ash alone possibly having like the potential to give the audience, the crowd that ultimate like the ultimate satisfaction level worthy of like an entertaining like final championship battle. And to give that to the crowd would be like an extremely high priority and extreme goal and desire for like Leon, which for like a long time, which like Leon might have not been able to like achieve within that time, especially with the pension. So like right now, Leon will be being as that chosen one or like as that person who could like give that to like the audience and the crowd in like the finals between like fun battle between like Ash and Leon. It's definitely my good ambition. So like I'm going to tell this to like Ash, like and I was wondering right now Leon telling Ash that basically in like the final battle final like the championship battle between like Ash and Leon, like I'm wondering right now like Leon telling Ash that like Ash to like basically prioritize the crowd, like prioritize like giving that absolute and all these people that falls in that huge crowd is like show would be showing up for like the finals and like the championship battle to like to basically have that and for them to like get that absolute entertainment and satisfying levels of like entertainment to have that like for this crowd to be showing up tomorrow for like their battle between like Ash and Leon. So like we have to like give them that satisfactory level of like an entertainment would be like what like Ash and Leon should be like working towards like to tell this in like their battle in their next level. To tell this to Ash would be like might be like the core reason for like Leon right now telling Ash to like show up to like the Windows Stadium on like the previous day of like the championship battle between like Ash and Leon, especially in my documentary and the fighter. Yeah, also definitely my dream since that usually for like the final battle, championship battle between like Ash and Leon. Definitely I'm for like the audience to like totally get that absolute visual phrase when it comes to like Ash's like 6 member Pokemon team that Ash will be using to like fight off against Leon. It's like given the scenario that I'm going to bring, contrary to like Leon's case, it's definitely by the brain because like I'm like in like the case of the 6 member team of Leon that Leon will be using in like the finals against Ash. Like I'm putting like in Leon's case, like I'm doing two projects, either like the entirety of like the Pokemon that Leon will be using would be like Pokemon from like the Galar region, or like I'm putting like the majority of like the Pokemon, majority among the fixed Pokemon that like Leon will be using, and the different will be like from like the Galar region. So like I'm putting like since like the championship battle, like the sports championship battle is taking place in like I think like in like Indoor Stadium is in like the Galar region and the different. So like even though the stadium is like huge and has like a great capacity to hold a lot of like audience, like still like the majority of like the audience will be people from like the Galar region, especially when it's game. So like like for them like they will be like the all for all this like crowd like they will be all used to like the Pokemon from like the Galar region. So like I'm looking like so like I'm looking Leo's Pokemon like 6 member Pokemon will be like all or like the majority of the Leon system of Pokemon that Leon will be using in like fight against Ash, and which the cutting would be like Pokemon that like the crowd would be totally used to and have seen a lot of times with the Leon creation. But in the case of like Ash, like I'm the crowd would be like it would be such an absolute visual treat for like the crowd one like as would be bringing out one by one this like each of the like Pokemon one by one like pick Pokemon one by one just fight against Leon, especially on the privileges. Especially because things like as is like the majority in like as like current six member Pokemon team like since it's only like Surfetch as well as like Dracovic injections. Dracovic is like that absolute single Galar Pokemon in like Answer's team, and it's like Trapinch is like kind of like related to like Farfetch, which is like a Pokemon from like Generation One, and things like as Ace Pokemon Pikachu as well is from Generation of such, and a Pokemon from like the very first region of Kanto, and things like even like Gengar as well. And I'm remember like the audience might even recognize like Gengar if like has Gigantamax's if as would have like Gigantamax's Gengar in like as fight against Leon, which I'm definitely not to happen because like I'm definitely think like as would be like Dynamax into like Pikachu in like as that battle against like Leon, but definitely I'm so like I'm even Gengar as well. I'm like for the majority of like the crowds in like window clearing from which will be from like the Galar region, like Gengar as well and the it would be such an absolute visual treat. But like the majority of those audience from like the Galar region might have not seen all these like old Pokemon from like the older regions, like which is like the majority of the Pokemon in like as a teams that new friends. So like Gengar as well would be like a visual treat for like Galar audience as well as like Dragonite as well, like from this is also like a Pokemon in like as is like ultimate system, but team, which is also from like all the way back from like generation one, as well as like like Lucario as well. I think was like basically a Pokemon that is like a revealed was like it's like from like all the way back from like the Sin of region. I think like so basically since like that as well, it's like so far back. So like I'm looking at the majority of the kids and our audience having that getting that little treat from Lucario as well, like and so like in short, like my impressions are like for like the majority of like the audience that in like the Windows Stadium that will be showing up to like the Windows Stadium and watching like the actual Leon final ultimate championship battle. Like since like I'm sitting to my friend that like the majority of like that audience will be from like the Galar region. Since like Windows Stadium is in like the Galar region. So like for like both majority of like the audience who would be most likely used to like all the latest like things like the current animals like the Pokemon animals like Pokemon Sword and Shield. So like I'm looking like during that time like the majority of like audience who are like totally used to like the latest Pokemon of like the Galar region. For them definitely like Ash's like Pokemon team like system of Pokemon team. Since like the majority of like Ash's system of Pokemon team the current ultimate Pokemon team in like the in like the Sword and Shield and in like from like the very back older generation, like it's like as a 6 member team that would be that such a new fresh experience and like such a very visual treat for like the audience of like the Gadar region. It's like the scenario that I guess you putting another frame. So the Indian preemption right now with like beyond right now having got an Eternatus like still my impression that is sitting on was definitely that like in like beyond the Ash to the final showdown championship that like and in the league like Leon like final Pokemon will definitely be majorly ending up being like the Gigantamax Charizard and definitely it would be like the Gigantamax Charizard of like Leon versus like a Dynamax Pikachu or Bash would be like the final last Pokemon battle like when like Ash definitely I'm looking that would be like the last two last Pokemon battle between like Ash and Leon, which will be deciding like the winner of like the battle between Ash and Leon. It's like dealing with scenario that I'm still thinking about, but like right now my impressions are like in the case of that Eternity right now is like Leon revealing him having like thought Eternity is like that. My impressions is that like so this is the total my impressions definitely something since I'm totally something for like Leon to that totally gigantic to chapter in the battle against Ash and definitely something so Leon definitely would be using while Ambassador definitely for like Leon to use it like with the in his like battle against Ash, like and my frame is that like Leon would be like sending out his like first Pokemon would be like Eternatus. It's like in his like battle like championship final battle against Ash, like delivering like Leon's like first sending out Eternatus as his like first Pokemon. It's like the scenario that I'm looking at. Eternatus all by itself, which is taking out a bunch of like Ash's Pokemon. It's definitely straight away itself. It's like fit into scenario that I feel. So like I'm something like Leon hotspot in that battle against actually the Eternatus and like I'm definitely either Leon sending out his Charizard as the like last Pokemon, or like Leon possibly maybe sending out his Charizard in between, but like still Leon falling back as like Charizard, and definitely so that like eventually finally like when Ash and Leon will be down to that last Pokemon, it will definitely be Leon's like Gigantamax Charizard versus like Ash like Dynamax pretty good, especially the scenario that I was thinking of time was revenge, and especially because of this great member, definitely Leon in this like battle against like Ash won't be like Eterna Maxim is like Eterna is also definitely no expression like Leon won't be doing that, and instead like Leon would be like because like it would be like kind of like the because my first mentioned that it would kind of like the same situation as like Jagged Maxim. So like I'm like since like only one gimmick is like possible, and so something like instead of like Eterna Maxim just like Eterna which like I'm definitely and beyond might right now they haven't like the power source for like the items to do that, but still Amber with like Leon totally like getting his like maybe emotions getting in the way if that can into scenario, and basically instead of doing that and basically want to be and that way trying to like without trying to like turn like the already or like legendary kind of like Pokemon like matches into its like ultimate like Max form, like instead of doing that like I was like Leon having like emotions get in the way like, and sort of thing, and like Leon wanted to like fight Ash's like as with like the full power of the like ace Pokemon Charizard is like in the scenario that I'm looking for. Like instead like of the tournament maxing like Leon like the mental I'm definitely preparing for like Leon eventually Gigantamax with like Charizard. It's like bad again Ash. It's definitely an able scenario that I'm really looking. And that would be definitely I'm also bring like Leon to would be like eventually doing exactly that, and that would definitely be also due to that experience or confidence that I'm also bring definitely would be lead down would be present within like Leon. It's really definitely I'm also bring like all these past years of like Leon consider remaining in like the position of like the ultimate champion, but like Leon having never even been defeated not even once in his life. Like I'm also like this like that factor like that the undefeated factor of like Leon would be like totally might only down might have totally created like a certain level of like or confidence deep within like Leon. Even though it might not be visible to others, definitely I would very much so like that and the different will be totally like affecting like eventually it will be like affecting and backfiring on Leon and affecting Leon like performance and causing Leon to like eventually end up like having like a major setback in like fight against like Ash. Coupling with like Ash like Pikachu's like also like using some sort of like getting one more special attack power. It would be like the same attack but like Amber in like scenario to Amber with either for like Ash Pikachu like learning some sort of like a new attack towards like the variant of like Ash battle against Leon. But like even more than that, Amber like it would be most likely Pikachu most likely using like maybe like one of its attack get like ambassador exactly like how like Pikachu alone was able to like use Pikachu's like remove as Pikachu alone was able to like use as Pikachu's like remove in the special manner so that like the opponent Pokemon wasn't able to like dodge like Pikachu's remove alone like ambassador like in similar manner like as if Pikachu is using some sort of like a different move as well and turning it into as well in like as Pikachu alone being able to like use another different move as well in that an extremely special manner. Like that as well, coupling with like the other factor like and like would be what like bringing about eventually like the repeat of India against Ash. It's like so it's another specific one to remember. So like definitely I'm still sticking to my different version that like in like as a fight against Leon, definitely I'm from like Leon like first Pokemon would be like that Leon will be sending out would be like Eternatus and basically like Leon Eternatus and would thing like taking out straight away taking out like three of like specifically I'm looking for it to be like three exactly three the initial three Pokemon of like Ash and the different like will be like single-handedly taken out and defeated by like Leon Eternatus and make it would be like the fourth Pokemon of Ash, which maybe would be like Ash like Lucario, which that would be like the Pokemon that might be eventually or for indicating Eternatus. It's like the winter scenario that I'm looking for again of so like the film as in right now is basically that contrary to like Ash's like six member team for the battle between like Ash and Leon, it's just like taking place in like the Windows Stadium. It's like the Gala region, so like hence like the crowd. majority of the crowd being like the Galar region, my region. So like I'm looking for that majority of like the crowd that will be used to like the latest Galar region Pokemon. Like for them, like I'm looking like when it comes to like Leon 6 member thing, that only Amberson has to be like only one single refreshing site, like a Pokemon that they have no, they are not used to, or like might have the majority of them might have not like the Galar crowd might have not seen, and that Pokemon and the second would be like the ultimate legendary Eternatus that like Leon would be sending out at that point. That would be like the only refreshing site for like the Galar crowd, majority of the Galar crowd. So when it comes to like Leon's like this number Pokemon take. But when it comes to splitting them as a perimeter, like when it comes to like answers which number Pokemon team with like the majority of like the Pokemon being like old Pokemon from way back, like everything. So that the latest Galar audience would be like totally finding that like far too refreshing and it's definitely my opinion. Okay, so like the name of the brand restaurant right now is like Go right now saying how like back then like when Go had fought Eternatus with like a Pokeball like this back then like Eternatus was so extremely violent. So like I was like the like since like Eternatus was most likely I'm like kind of like a legendary Pokemon or something like this. Eternatus is so successfully powerful. So like since even then, like, and since, like back then when Go had fought internet, it was like a Pokeball. Like the internet was like not only so extremely violent and powerful, but not only powerful but also was like in an extremely violent mode. Like yet, like the fact that like Go was able to like catch up that internet with just a Pokeball. Like I was wondering like that would be precisely due to like maybe like like internet just like eventually like might have spot us go and at that point like it's like violent nature might have calmed down on King Go because like it might have like internet might have maybe for some reason might have probably taken quite a liking to it like Go. And that might be the precise reason for like even while like master balls exist to like they really catch like extremely overpowered Pokemon and since like internet is like definitely an extremely overpowered Pokemon which like even Leon I think like had like a struggle against Go. Like since like Go with like a single Pokeball was able to like without even using any Master Ball since like Go with like a simple Pokeball was able to like capture like Eternatus like an exceptionally powerful Pokemon like Eternatus maybe due to like from seeing Go like for some reason like Eternatus like extremely violent Eternatus possibly might have calmed down maybe and might have decided to like maybe it might have taken quite a straight away for some reason might have taken quite a liking towards Go and might have wanted to be like ghost Pokemon. So like I'm thinking it might have allowed itself to be captured by ghosts like Pokeball. It's definitely what might have happened. It's definitely my opinion. So like that might have been what might have happened. So like I'm looking even right now, like the person like Eternatus might not be happy that like it's right now Leon's Pokemon while like there's a reason for like Eternatus might have like in like the past like might have allowed itself to get captured by simple Pokemon also might have been maybe due to like it wanting to let the those Pokemon but so like I'm looking maybe for like Eternatus right now while it's like the Pokemon that belongs to like Leon right now like I'm looking like Eternus just might not be that happy at all. The Leon's Pokemon is definitely my preferred, regardless of like Leon being like this undefeated champion and all that wouldn't even matter to like Eternatus at all. And Eternatus might not be happy at all being like a Leon's Pokemon right now. It's definitely my secondary impression right now. Okay, so like definitely my impression right now as for like the Leon right now with the border song, like basically really how it was like extremely difficult job for like Leon to like establish like human contact for like Eternatus and basically like how like about like how Eternatus in like the beginning was lashing out at Leon. Like I'm still thinking about the really trying to be precisely because of like Eternatus like totally expecting for while Eternatus might have allowed go to like using its like Pokeball to like get to Eternatus might have allowed itself to get captured by God those like Pokeball at that point Eternatus might have only expected it to be like end up being like those Pokemon. But like I was looking event, like Leon might have brought out Eternatus like from like the football at that point, seeing Leon like I was looking like Eternatus might have gotten extremely enraged because like Leon might have not been like the uh, trainer that like Eternatus might have chosen. Like it might have been go back then. It's definitely not trainer. So like I'm looking like that might be the reason for like Eternatus like repeatedly lashing out at like Leon. It's definitely my good thing. So like Eternatus might have not at all liked or even cared about Leon at all. It's definitely my good but like I'm looking like still since like Leon right now has revealed that like eventually Eternatus calm down after like initially lashing out at Leon and so like eventually like Leon might have eventually somehow struggled into like managing to like managing to like different Eternatus might have been what might have happened. So like right now, maybe like Eternatus might be like totally okay, but not being those Pokemon and but like it being like Leon Pokemon definitely might be reimbursed. So that especially because of the reason I'm looking something like maybe like in like Leon's like bad against as like Eternatus would actually be like not at all holding back and giving it everything against like as a Pokemon in like Leon's battle against that. It's like the scenario that I was also bringing up to reaction right now. Okay, so like let's name the frame version right now with that Leon right now revealing how Eternity is not able to like properly control its power. Like I'm different. So that definitely I'm different like as like how exactly Eternity will be ending up in like Leon's like final battle against like as championship battle against Ash will be so directly due to like I'm different right now still some of like Leon telling Ash like that basically to improve like the control of like Eternatus improve like Eternatus to like get more of like a control over its power. Like Leon has decided to like choose Eternatus as one of its like Pokemon and which like picked from number 10 in this like final championship battle against Ash. Like to reveal this to Ash might be like the reason for maybe like Leon bringing out Ash right now to that win Australia. It's like my very impression because like Eternatus is like such an or legendary Pokemon and everything but like Leon might have not wanted to let give Ash such an extreme shock of the surprise definitely might have been. So maybe like that might be the reason for like Leon possibly might have wanted to let Ash know beforehand that this Leon would be like using internet to like in like Leon's like having to finally battle against that. It certainly might be very interesting. So like I'm looking at the fact that like the fact that it's now revealed through Leon that basically like Eternatus is like not able to like properly control its power. Like I'm looking this fact would be what I'm about to say. Like eventually in like Ash battle against Leon and it's like Eternatus would be like what Ash would be eventually taking advantage of. And that would like eventually Ash I'm looking straight away like I'm looking like at three of that Eternatus like single-handedly taking out three of like Ash initial Pokemon, and then like Eternatus like slowly started to let loose its like control over its power, like the scenario that I'm doing. And I'm considering the fourth Pokemon of Ash to be like to be the Flurry. So like I'm doing like one Eternatus to be like losing control over its power, like Ash like Lucario totally taking advantage of that situation to like the and that would be how like that would be what that the necessary factor that the sample spending would even be usually even be making it possible for like as a Flipkart, which I'm still remembering written one at one to make a working Flipkart nice battle against the other. So like as a like basic Lucario, for it to eventually be able to like overpower and defeat like an ultimate Pokemon or power Pokemon like Eternatus like Amazon like that only being possible through like Eternatus eventually losing control over that power and Lucario taking advantage of that situation. It's like the usual possible scenario where I'm little again and my okay, so like the minimum restaurant right now with like Go right now telling Dion how he eventually wants to be like an amazing trainer like Dion that like Eternal would one day accept like exactly like how it has right now accepted Leon. Like Amazon like Go is only unaware and hence like Go a bit okay wrong about that what he has who he's like trainer right now. It's definitely my person to reimpression. Especially because like Amazon it might have been exactly already Eternal is having accepted an extremely overpowered Pokemon like Eternatus having already accepted Go might have been like the sole reason, and it might be not due to like those strength as like a Pokemon trainer or anything, or like in those like seeing those like battle skills or anything. Might not be like the reason, definitely not be like the reason for like Eternatus back then accepting Go and allowing itself to be captured by Go's like simple Pokeball. Definitely what might have happened back then is a little different. It might have been precisely maybe like the person who is like the both or like the person who is like basically maybe like that possibly like might have been what Eternatus might have like and so like Eternatus might have even way back then itself like might have straight away accepted go and gone and basically Go and basically straight away accepted Go and might have allowed itself to get captured by Go. Those like simple Pokemon might have been what might have happened. But remember the reason like it might have even way back then so might have accepted Go. It might have been totally Leon that like Eternatus what like might have been totally refusing to like accept. and hence why like when Leon brought out Eternatus later on from like Pokeball, like Eternatus lads out at like Leon is definitely my theory and which and that is Leon is about which like not even like the great champion Leon would be even aware of. Definitely my theory and okay, so let me clear my three impression right now with like Ash right now in like a relaxed manner, telling Go as to like how he's going to like rest like the previous day before like a battle against like Leon. And like with like Ash right now telling Go how like there's no point in like worrying about like Ash's like battle like the next day after like coming to Star along with his like I'm like, even though Ash will be saying all this like I'm definitely by the time it will be like night time like I'm like Ash definitely won't be like sleep definitely like in the scenario that I'm really have to be desperately trying to like uh to get over this like nervousness and like extreme fear and like that stress that I should be feeling is definitely my taking very much and I'm also trying like to like whole stress and his like nervousness to like only start to like peak during once it's like it will be night time and basically it's just like that night would be like once that night will be over it will be time for like us to like face off against like the undefeated ultimate top champion even like as being like more and getting more and more nervous once it will be like nighttime and the like as that like nervousness causing has to like not be able to like get any rest and not be able to like sleep the entire night like the scenario that I'm looking at different time of the friends. Also, the film make us very impression right now is for like this very day, like the previous day before, like as the like ultimate championship battle against Leon, like I was in this very previous day, like I was like definitely Team Rocket and was definitely eventually the different definitely will be showing up. Even though Team Rocket haven't shown up to cause trouble for like Ash and Go for like a while now. Still, I was like Team Rocket on this very previous day of like Ash's ultimate battle against Leon, like on the very previous day, definitely I was like Team Rocket would be showing up and I was like it won't be to like actually truly cause trouble for us, but like I was like thinking of showing up with that absolute disguise with but like with deep down with like an absolute genuine good intent and that would be like I was thinking of it would be trying to like give the like them putting in their own effort to like really give that absolute final training for and by putting on like an absolute disguise and basically like to make it seem as like they like basically it's not race Team Rocket or like maybe Team Rocket themselves like showing up and basically putting on a fake act that like they are they have shown up to like cause trouble again and basically as totally falling for it and like as totally like and Team Rocket totally like fighting as with like that absolute passion and just unlike before like I'm using Team Rocket team their absolute everything in that fight against Ash. Uh, Fighting as per that absolute passion. And it would be always their genuine intent to like literally give us that like absolute final training to help us to get stronger before like as is like final battle against like ultimate battle against like the honest definitely not famous because like I'm definitely even though Team Rocket might out like as like might still just like Ash Ambassador still Ambassador like Ash like Ambassador like right now with like Ash getting like especially since like the current Champions League is like even different from like the Pokemon League where like Ambassador like since like the current Champions League like basically since like the Master Race of like, the Champions League is like way more like for like the bigger league especially remember since like champions from other regions are actually it's not just like Pokemon trainers, but like alone, but like champions from like other regions are like so many champions from like the other regions were participating in like the Master Race and in this tournament and basically even like Ash has basically like made his way all the way into like even surpassing those champions into like making it to like the finals to face off against like Leon right now. Like I'm referring like definitely because of like the current position and like the place of like the situation where like Ash is in right now. I'm position like Ash would be like exactly like how according to my premise, I'm position like in the case of like Magnolia as well as Sonia. Like I'm position like a similar thing would be going on with like in the case of Team Rocket as well, but like they would be totally like wanting to like share that basically would be only feeling that kind of like liking towards like at right now temporarily for the time being solely due to like as of right now being in such an extremely important place in as of like definitely one of the evolution. So like I was like Team Rocket right now would be like due to that like I was like Team Rocket right now will be temporarily kind of like feeling like liking towards like as and I was running for Team Rocket especially since like they know they have been they knew as from way back like basically since like Team Rocket have been like having fighting as since like way back like I'm acting and since that very same as right now in such an extremely important place in like the world, like I'm just like and as like I'm just Team Rocket right now wanting to like basically would be desperately wanting us to like defeat like the undefeated Leon so that like basically maybe like at least Team Rocket could like it was like maybe the ambitions that like, maybe that way like Team Rocket might get like some sort of like like some sort of like kind of like a feeling of satisfaction with them like basically known as far too well and basically them also like being able to like maybe like it would be also like maybe like Team Rocket's way of like wanting to like get a bit of credit for like if like once like Ash would be defeating Leon, which will be totally what Team Rocket would be totally hoping for with that absolute optimism because like they will be like also getting that feeling of satisfaction that they really like that and they would walk to like even talk among themselves with that absolute feeling along the lines of like it being like their final training that they had given steadily given to Ash before Ash's battle against Leon. Being the actual reason for like Ash being able to like defeat Leon and all that like basically to get kind of like take the credit for in such a manner would he want like maybe the cream of the builds are in straight down. It's also like about to do that about the thing. So like about the thing maybe collectively because of all the reasons I'm also trying like maybe I'm definitely being more just about to get that like before this current day and for like as like I'm like Team Rocket 70 only showing up and only putting on a fake act that is like just creating trouble for like they are here to like create trouble but need to be like a stealthy training that Team Rocket will be giving to like as to like for as from their side to like for Nickel Barras for like as ultimate battle against Leon like this is the scenario that I'm going to bring in also yeah. So like you know, what's the option that like in short like basically Team Rocket might have been for a long time like Team Rocket might have been like the friendly bond to that feel important, wanted to be important, but like they might have never been able to like achieve that might have been one huge goal for like Team Rocket, but like they might have seems like they were never able to like achieve that like and like they right now with like as current situation with like Azure is like already in such an extremely important place and if like Ash like the very next day it was like that against Leon even defeat Leon like the undefeated number one top champion like at that point like Ash will be ending up being one of like the most important person in like the entirety of like the world of Pokemon at that point, or like even for a while. So like I'm looking like at that point, like I'm looking like think look at that way would want to like want a bit of that importance at that point that has to be getting in their life. Being Rocket as well would want that importance in their life to feel important along with that. And that would even if the Team Rocket would be no definitely won't be like uh, even if it would be just kept between themselves like between like the Philippines and like still Amazon like, even between themselves like Amazon they would want to like feel important along with like as once like Ash if like Ash ends up getting all that importance like Team Rocket as well would be simultaneously wanting might be wanting to like feel important along with Ash especially because of like Ash being Team Rocket having been such an integral part of like Ash journey so far, even from like the very beginning to like the point where Ash is in right now. So like I was like it would be that separation for like that feeling of importance that like I was like would be like what Team Rocket right now would be resulting in like I was right now for like the great day like before the day and then Team Rocket totally like totally like showing up in front of like Hash and Go and like Team Rocket specifically like in the battle like I'm playing Team Rocket both the three games as well as Neo Bullion specifically not targeting Go but like specifically Hash in that battle is like the scenario that I'm like the kind of realms. Okay, so like the name of the realm question right now with like a gang of like a bunch of Neo as well as like a Genarian Neo like right now being revealed like I'm looking like the like the scenario that I'm looking is definitely for like Team Rocket. Like I'm looking like this like group of like the gang of like Neos as well as like the LRN Neo like basically eventually making their move on Team Rocket is like in the scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm looking like eventually like the like Team Rocket should be like having food with them and I'm looking like at that point like I'm looking like the gallery of sending for like that gang of like a bunch of male like using steel back foot and I was looking at train rocket as well as like me out like train rockets me out like chasing after them and ending up in that alleyway like place where like the gallery me out would be and like they are like I was looking like team rockets me out like only getting angry and like team rockets me out like challenging like the Galarian Meow for like their food and they really like a fight between like the Galarian Meow and Team Butterfly Meow is like what I'm looking for again. in which like the Galarian Meowth would be like with such absolutely like would be totally offering and defeating like Team Rocket's Meowth. And like I'm like that point like the Galarian Meowth would be like attacking Team Rocket as well as Meowth again like and at that point like I'm from Team Rocket and Meowth would be running scared away from that alleyway while being chased after by like the bunch of like the gangs of like Meowth as well as like the Galarian Meowth is like the scenario that I'm looking at at that point Team Rocket while keeping their disguise would be like totally running into Ash and Go is like the scenario that I'm looking. So like at that point those people like Ash and Go without realizing they are Team Rocket like those people like Ash and Go like most likely not Ash and Go but like I'm looking at that point like without realizing they are like Team Rocket like I'm looking Ash would be most likely fighting the Galarian Meow with like one of Ash's Pokemon and which I'm looking maybe would be like Pikachu or like I'm looking like it. I'm very much of the possibility that like it would be like Ash with just like Pikachu fighting off against that Galarian Meow and I was like Pikachu totally initially struggling against like the Galarian Meow yet like I'm looking at like Pikachu will be succeeding in that war for defeating like the Galarian Meow and then was like Ash getting that spotlight at that point and really as a but as would be fighting like tragedy or Galarian of like everything like Go might be like fighting against like the subordinates of like the subordinate of like that Galarian of like would be like what Go would be fighting off against and Go and just like Purple would be fighting off against this like the scenario that I'm looking. So like after that fight like I was like the Galarian of getting defeated by the Pikachu and like the Galarian of and like the remaining subordinate of like running away scared like the scenario that I'm looking. And at that point, I was looking like Team Rocket like totally taking off their disguise and they were looking for like Team Rocket like basically totally putting up the fake act. I'm not trying to happen at that point. Like scenario that I'm looking at that point, Team Rocket totally putting on the fake act and with their conscious intent to like totally definitely train acts like I'm looking like them totally like putting on a fake act as like them trying to like steal Pikachu. And I'm looking like definitely certainly during that point itself, I'm looking like one like the Galarian out and the other could be like turning out scared itself like I was looking like Philip could be like basically like showing up and basically dropping that whole like Pokeball thing and everything like the scenario that I'm looking. So like straight away Team Rocket would be taking that random Pokeballs and basically bring out a bunch of like strong Pokemon and I was like Team Rocket is that absolute like genuinely and passionate determination like fighting off against like at while precisely like both Jesse and James like would be like with their both their two random Pokemon like considering those Pokemon to be extremely strong as well but like they will totally focused on fighting at and like they will be totally ignoring those like the scenario that I'm doing and that totally conflicting those like scenario that I'm doing and like Team Rocket only focusing on fighting at the black issue and I'm looking at and Ash may be sending out one more of his Pokemon and that would not exactly Lucario that new premise. So the cats like Pikachu and Lucario totally maybe that totally offering that to Pokemon of like of Jesse and James while I was going to totally feeling left out is like kind of like any of the scenario that I'm looking at. Because like those seeing how extremely focused like Jesse and James during that fight on specifically Ash alone and not at all on Go like during the scenario that I'm looking for, like I'm looking such a manner maybe like Ash is like people and Lucario are totally like eventually totally offering like the Pokemon of like Team Rocket and Team Rocket blasting up and sending flying away like the while blasting off like once again like the scenario that I'm looking but like while blasting off like I'm looking at that point like Jesse James and me also being totally feeling satisfied and content that like they were able to like give that final bit of training for at on like the free to play before like as like ultimate most important battle against like Leon. It's like the just scenario that I'm looking for the topic and not the and maybe like I'm bring at that point Jesse and James and talking to each other like mid air while blasting off like them telling to each other like repeating like that Ash would definitely is definitely going to like win like to like uh next phase match against like Leon and like it will be solely due to like our training that we have like that they have right now given Ash would be like so good for like Ash would be like able to like defeat like Leon in like that ultimate final battle against like Leon would be along the lines of like Team Rocket talking amongst each other and trying to like comfort each other with like the eventual scenario that I'm doing as they would be blasting up with like the eventual scenario that I'm doing and not doing. Okay, so like the final number three impression right now is for like James right now telling Jesse as for like taking to select Pokemon like the next stage. while like the current situation even is like just the end games like about the fight over against like Ash and Bale. Some of the reason for like them even telling that to Jesse would is probably due to like them totally wanting like Ash to like basically be able to like fight up against Leon and basically be able to like do absolute everything against like Leon and actually like win against Leon would be definitely what the enemy team pocket would be desiring. So that like team pocket would be only feeling important at that point because of like them having been like such a huge part of like Ash's life, even everything like even from way back from like the beginning. Definitely not the reason. So like for them to get that for Team Rocket to like get that absolute satisfaction through Ash's victory against Leon and then for Team Rocket to like still as a because it would be like the precise plan of like paying off it right now. So you know, my personal understanding, this would be the precise reason for like being right now telling Jeffrey to like not take as Pokemon right now and to wait until tomorrow. It's definitely my very impression right now. Also definitely my very impression as for like the possibility that I'm considering that would be part of like the plan of like secret plan same rocket to like steal as a Pokemon only tomorrow. Like I'm just bringing the maybe like the other possible reason that I'm considering would be for like because the team rocket will be totally like optimistically betting on like as defeating Leon tomorrow. Definitely my good and once that happens and once like it would be time to like crown like the new champion the new ultimate top champion actually like once it would be like that during that crowning ceremony maybe like at that point like when like everyone's attention would be on as like the new champion like at that point for like the rocket to steal Ash's glory and spotlight by basically dropping down into like that stadium on their blink and basically to steal Ash's Pikachu right in front of like the TV as well as like the entirety of like the crowd. And that way like to make that way for King Rocket to make them look cooler and stronger than as like the ultimate top champion at that point. It might be like the ultimate plan of like by stealing it, it might be like the ultimate plan of like secret plan of like Team Rocket. So it's also like the other possibility that I'm considering another thing. Okay, so like definitely my person that I'm looking right now, but like even on like the very previous day, like the most important day of like Ash's life, that on the previous day of like Ash's like ultimate battle against like Leon, like even right now, like it's legal like go getting on Fortnite and basically go telling Ash that basically go will like take care of it and go basically deciding to like fight and bring down Team Rocket and like the first after with like those like Pokemon, like with the those like Inteleon and those Score Money as well as like those basically quite right now the different like Ash like even on like the very previous day of like as a most important fight against like important moment and important fight in his like ultimate fight against Leon. Like even in that very previous day right now, I'm looking like Ash right now would be most likely watching Go fight from like the sidelines and while cheering and clapping for Go while ambassador like the protagonist guys will be like technically cheering for Go from like the sidelines while Go will be like taking out the spotlight right now and totally offering and defeating Team Rocket as well as like first of the Rambo to bring right now like goes like Scorpion as well as like Inteleon like basically like right now to like totally show off like their ultimate moves and basically like totally entirely like offer like the Galarian Meow as well as like the first of the so like I'm just wondering right now while like Go and those like Inteleon and those like Scorpion and like the friends of like those like Scorpion Pokemon like basically those folks like the quite all this Pokemon of Go and basically and Go would be like getting all the spotlight and would be like fighting against that basically that the Galarian the great number of Galarian Meow as well as like the first of them as well as like Team Rocket and their two Pokemon as well. While Go will be like doing all this like and the different like and getting all that spotlight and doing all this like battling and everything and the different like Ash would be like most likely watching from like the sidelines with like a smile and basically would be like clapping and cheering for Go on like the very previous day like of like Ash like ultimate most important battle against like Leon. It's like the scenario that I'm considering right now. I'm not remember. Okay, so like the name of the grand prediction right now, as with like this team rocket right now, using like the multiple Galarian Neo sounds like basically like sending out like all these like great number of like Galarian Pokemon like and those different like all sorts of like Galarian Pokemon like right now but definitely since like Ash and Go like in like the Sword and Shield and in like basically for like the majority of it like basically Ash and Go were like mostly spending their time journeying on the region outside of like the Galar region, like the region of like the Sorensen and like the lake right now with like Team Rocket like using the charm of like the Galarian of like with like Team Rocket fitting out all this great number of Galarian Pokemon all of a sudden right now and to bring right now. And neither Ash nor even Go and like won't be even aware of like which like all those Galarian Pokemon are like about like such Pokemon even existing and person like maybe like neither Ash nor even Go would be like aware of because like even this at that time like Go as well had basically mainly spent all this time journeying with like Ash in like regions outside of like the Galar region, seeing like and mainly like battling and seeing like Pokemon that mostly were like Galar Pokemon. But the neither has nor even Go would be like right now. Not even would be seeing all this like the great number of Galarian Pokemon that like Team Rocket is right now sending for like the very first time in their lives. It's literally my person theory and concern right now. Okay, so like the film and presentation right now has for like both like Rotom on like the ringing as like the gas and go that was like it's not running back, which was most likely to the play and like hotel for long roads and like that message and like those like Rotom Phone and those different would be most likely for like the project innovation. It's definitely my brain. So like I'm looking like most likely go to like the situation right now, kind of like the situation right now happening with like I'm looking like those like project innovation actual made for mission to capture me and from beginning on tomorrow itself with like the scenario that I'm delivering. So like that way, like I'm maybe like definitely I'm looking like oh might be like okay looking forward to like seeing to watching like and cheering on as in like has the like most important ultimate main battle against like the Arctic Leon like in that battle in like Rindon series like Gold might have been totally looking forward to like basically watching and basically cheering on Ash from like the sideline from like the audience of the definitely remember it was like all that plan of like go right now and they could to be like getting destroyed with like the unexpected situation for like action to happen right now with like like that's like scenario that I'm looking to happen right now with like those like first new main first new mission to like capture new like beginning on the very next day itself but like the scenario that I'm in. So like that way like I'm looking like Ash straight away telling at that point itself I'm looking like Ash telling straight away telling those that they believe that that they both have their ultimate goals that they want to achieve. So like I was wondering maybe Ash telling those that like goes from the like sacrificing his goal to like basically cheer on Ash in like as it's like very important that it can play on the next page that like Goku has like his own goals that he needs to like achieve and that goes in that first mission is that important as like as it go to like defeat Leon as well. Because along the lines of like has totally made it comforting goal and basically as like encouraging go to like basically not overthink and basically to like straight away head off to towards his like original mission. So that ending towards like take part in his like original mission like the very next day and that way like I'm looking like the very next day like Ash can go splitting up like go heading or process like original mission and Ash like heading off to like window days in like all by himself to basically fight his like ultimate that against like Leon like the scenario that I was like another framework. So like the Cleveland Victory Brooklyn right now with like since like right now goes like straight away leaving X and basically heading on for the left working merchant. Definitely I'm looking so like I'm looking but like the time as well being like evening like and almost turning night like I'm looking like Ash like I'm looking definitely on Ash will be like running back to his like hotel room at like hotel long road like at that point I'm looking like Ash will be all alone by himself in his like home at that point and basically like Ash at that was the feeling at that point like Ash to like start to like overthink and Ash to like at that point he feel that absolute nervousness and stress of it like battle against like Leon the next day. Definitely my friends at that point stress and like overthinking all that happening for Ash once like Ash would be all by himself that in that it has a role in like hotel Leon like the scenario that I was in that talking like Ash to like keeping on stressing out like and overthinking like the entire night and that way not being able to like get any sleep at all for like the entire day of the night. And I was like Ash would be like the sudden absence of like go and different like slowly the like affecting Ash and I was thinking like Ash will be like stepping in for like the for his like ultimate to like for like into like the stadium for his like ultimate battle against like Leon like at that point I was like Ash would be like extremely nervous. But like I was like once like the battle against Leon will be beginning, like I was like Ash totally like finally like getting over slowly getting over it bit by bit as like the battle will be progressing. Like against like Leon is like the scenario, it's just like the scenario that I'm because like I'm not my the younger. Oh, definitely my book three I'm right now is that basically definitely preparing in like the very next episode itself like what will be happening will be like definitely as it's back against Leon. Definitely my preference. As that against Leon will be definitely starting in like the very next episode was like the scenario that I'm going. And like that as like six versus six battle against Leon that basically continuing on from like the next episode to like the episode after like the next episode and like it would be like the third episode that I'm basically uh, Unfortunately, like Ash versus Leon battle, like going on for three consecutive episodes, secondly, Magic Cranes. And with that, with the third episode, I'm also like Ash battle against Leon will be over. And I'm also like it will be after this that Ash would, and I'm definitely still thinking my other episode that like Ash would definitely be defeating Leon, and then definitely Ash would be becoming like the main top champion, ultimate champion of like the scenario that I'm also like. And after like Ash will be becoming like the champion, like I'm also like Ash even though like wasn't like all of like Iris and all of like as for like old friends which is still present there and was like them all would be like and I was wondering maybe by then like Rock as well as Steve would be like definitely considering might be like definitely showing up to like Windown Stadium to like watch as it's like that definitely definitely listen to such an extremely important moment for like Ash in like Ash's journey to become like the ultimate strongest trainer and become like the Pokemon master and everything like since like this is like an ultimate extremely important point in like as is like fine but against Leonardo so in the in the rock as well as he will be like traveling as well as like as like from like the previous journey like all of them like a great number of them or like the majority of them definitely are considering Serena as well with this is showing up to like been on Thursday and like I'm like Ash stepping up to like basically into like maybe I was open like the scenario to be like Ash like would be like spending would be like won't be able to like sleep all by himself at like the hotel at known of like totally overthinking and being other than I was like Ash stepping into like that against Leon into like that stadium into like the battlefield and like at that point Ash would be totally like goes like sudden absence would be totally affecting Ash but like I'm considering at that point would be when like Ash totally and that should be totally clean at that point. So like I'm not at that point, and at that point is when I'm maybe like the Ash totally getting the surprise with like Ash totally hearing like shouting noises from the audience side close by, and that will be precisely like and at that point when Ash will be like looking towards the ramp like Ash totally shockingly seeing like a Brock Misty and Serena and Dawn and like a bunch of like Iris and like a bunch of Ash's like friends principal of Ash is like considering is like all of them like sitting together and basically like cheering on Ash like really and that will be totally giving Ash like the confidence. So like I was like even though Go would be absent, like seeing them all being there right beside Ash and is cheering Ash on like I was like giving Ash that absolute confidence. And like I was like people after like but like still I was like after like Ash that like Leon would be eventually over and definitely I was Ash defeating Leon and becoming like, that top champion like then I was wondering like after like Ash should be, and I was wondering like maybe Ash not even staying after like defeating Leon and the wondering like also like I'm she's fronting for like a possible scenario where like even after like defeating Leon, like even though it would be like the crowning ceremony will be actually such a huge moment and important and huge biggest moment in like like I'm like as not even waiting for that and as not even staying is like the scenario that I'm living. Soon after like defeating Leon and Dr. Premier as to totally be in a hurry to like chase after and go after like go so that like Ash could like basically once again cheer go on from like the sidelines even though Go was like completely absent during like Ash is like important moment as like ultimate fight against Leon like I was wondering Ash still would be so extremely empathetic that like I'm wondering like Ash totally not even waiting to or staying to be crowned as like the champion for like us to get that championship trophy. Like as not even staying for that and as straight away like running to like search and find like Go and meet up with Go so that like people like the really cheer on Go. Uh, from like silent like scenario that I'm doing. So like I'm doing by the time like Ash will be like finding Go in between like the project mission like at that point I was and definitely I'm still thinking about my impression that like right now like go and like send our team of like the chasers and like the main person like running with the particular mission and everything. Like all of them would be like actually on their main mission to like find new, but like other different as they would be searching for new, like I was like even before new, like them totally running into raging just like the scenario that I'm considering. So like I'm considering like them to like totally be having like that ultimate raid battle with like the Reggie at that point is like the scenario that I'm considering. And then that's liberty it would be like them searching for Reggie gas, but like they would be actually searching for new but like I'm looking like it would be like Reggie gas like out of the blue like totally showing up and in front of them and that resulting in like them deciding to like raise battle again and bring down like the Reggie gas as like a practice for like against like the eventual ultimate battle against you. So like that way like them doing that raid battle against like Reggie gas and them like in that raid battle like go making a lot of mistakes. And I was feeling like in that raid battle due to like those like performance being weak, like I was feeling like um yeah, like that way like go creating trouble for like all the other chasers and participating in that raid battle, different down for the years was like the scenario that I'm doing. And then the least in the member premise and that like eventually it will be like Gary that will be probably capturing that Reggie while I'm looking like the other that serious safer as well as other he like I'm looking like Suragi I think it's the name that Suragi and as he like only framing go for like even after all this like basically for like those lack of like weak performance and all that like I'm like Suragi as well as Akadi like most likely it would be like the always serious Suragi that like I'm would be like only blaming go and I'm also finding like Suragi might be doing that with like a genuine intent to like totally motivate and to have go not lose his focus while like the eventual fight battle that will be happening against new. So like with that good intent like I'm also like Suragi would be like blaming go but still I'm also like go not getting it and I'm also go like any of being discussed or saddened and discouraged and losing his morale at that point is like a scenario that I was bring. And that coupled with like I was bring like it will be Gary that will be capturing like the Religia. So that as well would be like totally like sitting in that scene inferiority complex within so at that point is like the scenario that I was bring. And at that point I was bring would be when like Ash would be like showing up, finding go and showing up to that location like the scenario that I was bring. So actually seeing all this happen to go and basically I was like Ash would be like totally or would be always with right beside go from that point on and like would be totally comforting and boosting up goals like morale. That's like the scenario that I'm looking at. So that like eventually once like they would be like keep continuing their steps like I'm considering as like the champion, like the ultimate home champion would be like just casually like walking along with like rope and basically like I was when like we were just simply following go and I was like to consistently boost like those morale like the scenario that I'm doing and once like I was like they would be like eventually and I was like maybe like it would be like the once like they will be finding new like it will be a scenario where like it will be most likely news that will be like showing up and basically right in front of go once again is like the scenario that I'm looking at. So like I was like the remaining characters will be like searching for new but won't be able to like find new while like new self like will be like showing up in front of go. So like the scenario that I'm looking at. So like I'm looking for it to be a scenario where like go won't be finding new but like new deciding to like show up in front of go. It's like the scenario that I'm looking and that way that is at that point where like the right themselves like all the other like Asahi, Surgi, Gary, like Tokyo and all of them like and like the person running like the organization like all of them straight away would be in like career battle against like you at that point. Definitely Ash would be like still at that point watching from like the sideline and cheering on go consistently trying to boost those morale as like go would be like struggling in that even in that career battle against news like the scenario that I'm looking. So like the scenario that I'm also bringing is got two possibilities. Either like go totally performing well, and I'm definitely putting for go to like perform way better in that final raid battle against me would be when like go would be finally be able to like perform well in like the first mission and like go in that raid battle using his like for bunny as well as Inteleon will be like performing far better than or the in that raid battle against me will be performing far better than all the remaining sailors as well as like the person running like the Promethean mission as well, with like the scenario that I was referring. And at that point, I was looking like through that battle, like either I'm looking to opposites, either like go with most likely with this like intelligent, easily overpowering Mew, like finding maybe like Mew getting exhausted from like the constant with like such great number of like people like in that raid battle, like fighting a single Mew, like I'm eventually Mew getting tired and I'm like tired and exhausted and able to like go easily using Inteleon being able to like take advantage of that and easily like that way like maybe like goes Inteleon like literally finally forwarding me it's like scenario and maybe the and at that point as well I'm definitely fucking go with the throwing his like so that Pokeball and not even a master ball is like the scenario that I was playing. So like Go would be once again sticking to this like throwing off his like Pokeball on you and like would it would be through goes to that Pokeball that Go would be capturing it's like one possible scenario that I was trying. Like the other possible scenario that I was trying is that is for like go is like for like another scenario where like I'm still thinking about pretty much on that like in that rate that like in news so this still finally it would be like go be getting like the spotlight at that point with like go performing better than all the other members of like the first news in that rate battle against you. Yet like I'm new being like so extremely overpowered that like you would still be even overpowering and defeating both like in the Leon as well which would be like the last only last Pokemon in like the in that case with the raid battle. Uh, People that would be like participating would be like the only last Pokemon standing would be like Inteleon. So like even Inteleon still and though still being defeated by new like the scenario that I'm observing. Yet like I'm looking like new totally like basically recognizing like see Ghost performance as like being far superior and better than like performance of like all the others in that raid battle. So like I'm maybe like new totally feeling as if like Go as like worthy of like basically being like Mew's trainer and that way like I'm like Mew totally voluntarily showing up appearing right in front of Go and basically at that point like Mew like making it's like saying things and different like Go being able to like sense that basically Mew wants to be like a trainer and that way like show like basically touching his like taking out as like Pokeball and like touching and like Pokeball with that on Mew's like head and basically straight away like Mew getting into like those like Pokeball and that way like that thing how like Go would be like finally capturing Mew. And at that point I'm definitely putting like as like totally cheering on Go and like clapping for Go. The champion is like basically sitting like that and that time and the champion is will be like sitting like the sidelines and will be cheering for Go and once like Go will be like capturing you like actually like once again clapping and cheering for Go and so like I'm putting that's like in this scenario, even though like Go won't be like person to like cheer on Ash thing like ultimate bad important most important battle against like Leon and like once like there'll be Go's turn for like ultimate raid battle to capture you like during that and that time like Ash will definitely still be present and cheering on to go from like the sideline. It's like the scenario that I'm being rolled right and I'm very much also definitely going to temperature and for like since according to my temperature I'm to bring like during like hatching like ultimate championship battle against like Leon. Like even though Go won't be present like I'm looking for still I'm looking to take into my temperature that like all of like Ash's like travel partners from Ash's like previous regions like they really from Misty and Brock to like even Serena and all of them like I'm looking to be most likely all of them or like the majority like them would be like only present in that series during Ash on but still, even after like Ash would be like defeating Leon, like I'm like Ash, not even deciding not even to like spend, not even bothering to like spend time with like Brock and catching up with like Brock and Leo, Brock, Misty and like all of Ash's like from like the past, from like the past regions, but like Ash like totally at that point telling them all that basically the excuse that he has to like hurry and basically acts that way like basically prioritizing Go over all of them and basically heading over towards like to find Go so that like we could cheer Go on from like the sideline as like Go would be capturing you. And with that like I'm looking like as that way like prioritizing Go over like all of like as from like the as past journey with like the scenario that I'm looking to bring and I'm going to remember.